Well, they contacted us, but I didn't feel ready. There was something inside, and even the thought of it made me nervous.
Oh, sweet, gentle breeze, you remind.
There are moments in music when everything goes silent, so silent that the world seems to hold its breath. That was the atmosphere surrounding a simple video uploaded by a young vocalist from Northern England. No elaborate stage, no dramatic lighting, just a soft frame, a familiar melody, and a voice that shouldn't have sounded that mature at her age. People clicked expecting a cover. What they heard felt like a revelation. Within hours, comment sections began filling with stunned reactions. Viewers described experiencing a stillness, the kind that arrives when a voice touches something deeper than technique. And as the clip spread across continents, one question echoed louder than the music itself. How could someone so young deliver a performance that felt discomplete? What the world didn't know, what no one understood then, was that this moment was not an accident. It was the result of years of discipline, quiet choices, and a journey shaped far from the spotlight. A journey that was only beginning, and one that would soon rewrite everything she stood for. The story begins in Wigan, a place known more for its working-class grit than global music breakthroughs. Yet inside one household, long before cameras or crowds, a small child was already imitating melodies with a focus that surprised everyone around her. She was 7 when her parents realized that singing wasn't a phase, it was the core of who she was. Lessons followed, small recitals.
Community stages, where a young girl with an unusually steady tone began to turn local heads. But behind the applause lay something else, discipline, the kind rarely seen in someone so young. While friends chased weekend distractions, she rehearsed vowel shapes. While other children belted for attention, she learned restraint, how to hold emotion without overshowing it. This quiet commitment would soon become her signature. Yet even then, few imagined how far that clarity would carry her. And even fewer predicted how quickly she would be forced into the national spotlight. But her rise would begin in a place where most dreams end. When Lucy stepped onto the Voice Kids UK stage at 14, everything changed. Observers remembered an immediate hush, one that didn't feel like typical audience etiquette. It felt more like anticipation mixed with something uncertain, as if everyone sensed they were about to witness something beyond the usual talent show sparkle. Her tone cut through the air with an older soul steadiness. Mature lines delivered by a young face created a contrast that left judges quietly stunned. She advanced to the semi-finals, but her placement didn't match the impression she left. In most cases, contestants return to normal life as the spotlight fades. But Lucy's name didn't fade, it multiplied. Clips circulated, reposts spread internationally. Search spikes hinted that viewers weren't satisfied with a single performance. They wanted to know who she was. And without realizing it, a new kind of expectation began forming around her, one that wouldn't let her simply disappear into everyday life. Yet the true turning point was not the show. It was what happened next. Months after her televised audition, Lucy's path took a decisive turn. A recording contract, something young performers usually dream about long into adulthood, arrived far earlier for her. Signing with Cavendish Records placed her into an environment demanding more than raw ability. It required consistency, studio discipline, and an identity strong enough to hold its own within an industry that often reshapes young artists before they even know who they are. Then came Premiere in 2019, her first album. A bold step. Not a compilation of scattered covers, an actual body of work. And here, something unusual happened. Teenage artists often lean heavily into current trends. Lucy did the opposite. She chose classical pop interpretations. She selected tracks that demanded purity, breath control, and emotional restraint. She built a catalog that critics could analyze, not just a collection of viral hopefuls. Then, almost unbelievably, she maintained a yearly release rhythm, even while balancing school, development, and the pressure of a growing audience. Her work had a quiet confidence, but outside her circle, one lingering question remained. Could a young artist build a long-term career on purity alone? The internet was about to give its answer. And it would do so in a way no one expected. It happened suddenly, quietly. A cover of Hallelujah, recorded with striking simplicity, began appearing on international feeds. At first, in singles, then in clusters. Soon, it was everywhere. Viral moments come and go every hour online, but this one was different. People didn't just listen, they analyzed, they replayed. They shared with personal notes explaining why it felt unexpectedly powerful. Comment sections filled with observations describing her clarity, precision, and emotional restraint. Listeners wrote paragraphs instead of emojis. Even vocal coaches, often skeptical of youthful voices, highlighted her control and purity. Then the pattern repeated. Unchained melody. One moment in time. I will always love you. Each performance gathered millions. Each one showcased a voice that seemed untouched by vocal gimmicks. And something even more surprising emerged. People returned to older videos, months, even years later. Retention rose instead of falling. This wasn't novelty. This was trust. Viewers began expecting something from her, a certain quiet brilliance, a measured intensity, a sound that felt like calm in a chaotic digital landscape. But with growth came a new kind of pressure, one not visible in the view counts. Because audiences don't just love consistency, sometimes they demand it. For years, Lucy lived in digital spaces where editing could refine and controlled environments could protect. But in 2024, she stepped into a world that offers no such comfort: the theater, the West End. Her appearance at Theatre Royal Drury Lane marked a major shift, not just in her career, but in how the industry saw her. Theater audiences are notoriously discerning. They expect emotional interpretation, technical stamina, and an ability to convey story through music, not just vocal beauty. Yet early reviews suggested something remarkable. Her live tone remained stable, her control held. Her presence, though understated, carried the same quiet clarity audiences had come to expect online. This was the rare reverse trajectory. Most theater performers migrate to online platforms to expand their reach. Lucy moved the opposite way, proving she could stand in the traditional world without losing the identity she'd shaped through screens. Still, the move raised the stakes. Theater demands evolution. It requires growth, narrative understanding, and interpretive depth. Her voice had taken her this far, but on the West End, voice alone is never the whole story. And with every new stage came questions she could no longer avoid. Experts analyzing her performances often highlight a single trait first: clarity. A clean, pure tonal line that rarely wavers, even at soft dynamics. But beneath that clarity lies deliberate craft. She holds back where others oversing. She favors intention over ornamentation. She selects repertoire not because it is popular, but because it demands technique that suits her voice. Her control mirrors theater vocalists, despite not branding herself as one. Diction, breath discipline, unforced resonance. These elements combine to create what listeners often describe as comforting, steady, or emotionally grounding. But craft carries a hidden cost. When an artist becomes known for purity, any deviation can feel jarring to fans. When she experiments, some celebrate, some critique. When she remains consistent, some praise her discipline, others question her growth. Being recognized for technical excellence is a gift, but it can also become a cage, one she must navigate carefully. And beyond her craft, another set of pressures had quietly begun tightening. Fame built on consistency carries a weight that few see. Behind the calm performances lies a schedule that demands constant output: album cycles, rehearsals, recordings, stage commitments, and the unspoken expectation to always sound perfect. Digital audiences can be generous, but they can also be unknowingly demanding. The moment one cover goes viral, every new release becomes a comparison point. Every small vocal shift becomes a topic. Every pause between uploads invites speculation. Reports suggest she continued her academic life while building her career, a delicate balance that can shape a young artist's emotional resilience. Then there's the industry itself. Young singers often face subtle pressures. Which direction to take? Which audience to prioritize? Whether to remain a cover specialist or pursue original work? Whether to expand into theater or protect the digital base that shaped them? There's no public record of major conflict or crisis, only the predictable, often invisible challenges of rising young talent navigating a world filled with expectations. And because she's built on authenticity, every choice feels amplified. But the answers to these pressures would emerge soon, through the path she chose next. With a growing discography, a sustained digital presence, and a West End debut behind her, Lucy Thomas now stands at a pivotal juncture. Many young artists chase rapid reinvention. She built a career on stability. Her strategy, whether intentional or instinctive, has been to cultivate depth rather than speed, to grow an audience that returns, not one that merely reacts, to choose ballads that demand vulnerability rather than tracks engineered for temporary virality. This slow burn has created something rare: trust. Yet this trust is also where her story twists, because moving forward, she faces two powerful paths: reinvention, expanding into new genres, original music, or dramatic roles that challenge her established image; or deepening, building on the classical pop foundation she has shaped, refining rather than redefining her identity. Either direction could reshape her trajectory. Either could elevate her to new artistic ground, and either could test the loyalty of an audience that has followed her for purity, stability, and emotional calm. But here is the quiet truth. Her voice has already done what few in her age group have achieved, transforming consistency into a career and silence into a signature. And while her viral moment may have started the conversation, what comes next will decide the artist she becomes. Because for Lucy Thomas, the story hasn't peaked. It hasn't plateaued. It hasn't even revealed all its layers. Her voice has set the stage. Her choices will write the future. And everything depends on what she sings next. Because this journey is only beginning.